Let's talk about crime analysts. Crime analysts use a set of analytical processes relative to crime patterns to assist the prevention of criminal activities. According to ONET Online, 75% of crime analyst positions require a 4-year degree. Most are in criminal justice, statistics, or a related field. The job outlook is listed as bright, and the median wage of 2015 was $77,210. Are you still not quite sure what a crime analyst does in their day-to-day job? Crime analysts collect crime data, they watch crime trends, and they warn the public and the police of potential threats. Simply put, one of the jobs of crime analysts is to prevent emergencies. An example of crime data is this graphic of plotted burglary locations and the suspects' homes. Analysts keep track of crime data using software, maps, and charts in order to form predictions of future crimes or determine links to catch criminals. While crime analyzing has been around since the early 1900s, intelligence gathering became a more focused profession after the terrorist events of 9/11. The FBI and the intelligence community learned that they could take a proactive approach and collect information to predict and prevent potential attacks. Crime analysts can work for police departments, sheriff's departments, or even for the government at the FBI or CIA. If a crime analyst chooses to work for the FBI, they will take on a role of the first line of defense for national security. They will identify threats, develop assessments, share pertinent information with other agencies, and stay ahead of the threats. If a crime analyst chooses to work for a police department or sheriff department, they could do various analytical roles and have various titles such as intelligence analyst, administrative analyst, and strategic analyst. Crime analyst is a very broad term and houses a lot of specialty skill sets. No matter what specialty, crime analysts synthesize information and data.
I'm Susanna Young, and I'm the crime analyst for Oak Park Police Department. I started dispatching for Forest Park. Kind of ran its course. I want to try something different and still contribute to law enforcement. The MO is that they're taking louvers from the windows. I look for crime trends and crime patterns as they're happening. Robberies, burglaries, thefts.
Pull up Zone 8 if you can.
Officers are out there responding to calls, fighting crime. They may not always have the time to look at things in detail, and that's where I come in. Talk to the 90 beat officer, just so you guys are in sync. When I do an analysis, I pull all the reports together. I do a time frame, a date frame. I give them a map.
All right, perfect.
They take that out into patrol with them.
Thanks so much.
Great, stay safe out there. I think for a crime analysis, you have to be a detailed person. I like reading. I like collecting a lot of facts and then organizing them. It's like a big puzzle.
Crime analyst with the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. Our job is to look at crime and search for patterns and trends, series, and try and help better inform the deputies, make them more efficient. These guys are so proactive and so enthusiastic that they can go out to these areas and find crime and make arrests, but it's my job to better focus them, so we're looking at specific crimes in that area and reducing those crimes.
We can't 100% predict it, but by looking at the analysis, it helps us get to the right place before those problems are happening.
For the 2 projects I've worked on so far, they've been very effective. I can mention one up in Ramona. I started the first 2 weeks they were there. There was something like 16 or 17, even more residential burglaries in a 2-week period. The following 2 weeks after they'd been working there 2 weeks.
Accidents in July is Thursday between 1 and 2 p.m. So some of the data that I'll analyze, if I see a trend or a series developing, I'll send that out to whoever the relevant person might be. So that might be a sergeant on day shift, that might be a sergeant on the CAT team, and see if there's something that we can come up with or just to do about it, or just let them know that, hey, this kind of appears to be a hot spot arising. A crime analyst is someone who looks at data and tries to find patterns and trends in that information that will predict an occurrence or an offense or a traffic accident or to identify a suspect or a victim. Crime analyst will then share that information with the right personnel, and strategies and tactics can be created that will best respond to. This is the briefing room scroll in the briefing room of the police department. It runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it will just scroll through information that the officers may need to know while they're on shift. And this helps to be able to put pictures and faces to those names, so that if an officer's out on the street, he might recognize somebody and know who he's looking for or what he's looking for if it's a vehicle, a little easier than just hearing. I hope that the analysis that I'm able to provide for the officers and the detectives in tracking individuals and finding trends and patterns to be able to identify suspects and is able to help in the prosecution. I love the math and the data side and trying to tie in series and figure out a series or a pattern or a trend based on just a line of data. I hope the work that I do can help the officers do their job better and keep the community safe.
The aim of the serious crime analysis section is to identify potential serial rapists and serial murderers at the earliest stage of their offending. We take into consideration all elements of the offence: victim statements, their accounts that they've given, any witness statements, potentially crime scene photos, everything that we know about the offence in order to construct searches and run them across our database in order to identify any potentially similar cases. And it will bring back a whole list of cases. The analyst will then sit and read through every single case and make a decision as to whether it warrants inclusion. We want to be protecting the public, so we want to be working on those highest priority cases. So the nastiest offences will always be the ones that we need to be working on first. One of the most challenging aspects of working in SCAS would be the content of the work that we're dealing with. They're some of the most serious crimes, the most horrendous crimes that people can commit. But it is something that you do build resilience to over time. And seeing someone being brought to justice and being held accountable for their actions is where the biggest rewards come from. It's really challenging, but in a good way. And to be part of a unit and an agency that is doing something that is about protecting the public is, I think, why most people would say that they
the predictive policing maps.
Officers receive maps showing the areas of predicted activity for the next shift. Red boxes on the map highlight the hotspots, areas measuring 500 feet by 500 feet that will require extra patrols.
So the officers know that's the highest probability area where they should be looking for a crime to be committed. And we ask them to get in there and disrupt the crime from occurring or deny the criminal the opportunity to commit the crime.
That's just what happened in 2011 in Santa Cruz, California, where officers were patrolling a hotspot, putting them in the right place at the right time to stop an assault.
We came here, did extra patrols, and we were able to stop a crime in progress before it got worse.
We are helping police fight crime by giving them the best state-of-the-art mathematical models and algorithms to take the data from yesterday and today and figure out what's going to happen tomorrow in the field.
With mathematics and social sciences, police have a new weapon in their arsenal, helping not only to protect and serve, but also to predict a crime before it happens.
Then draw out conclusions.
Vehicle burglaries, we have distinct hotspots. It's just like John Gerard when he does the weather forecast at night. He's tracking the storm as it blows through San Antonio. So what the hotspot measures really is frequency.
Detectives monitor walls in what's called the Fusion Center, full of flat-screen TVs showing a variety of information, including cameras, news channels, dispatch screens, and different intelligence sources. And when analysts and detectives spot a pattern, they determine which tactics to use to address that pattern of crime.
That shows us patterns where there's a lot of a specific type of crime being committed. It shows us when the crime is being committed, possibly who might be committing a crime.
Tracking crime isn't new, but the chief says they're light years ahead of where they were even just a decade ago, though the concept was actually being used more than 100 years ago.
They started doing crime mapping back in the 1800s in Europe. They did the same thing, but they put push pins on a paper map.
He's a crime analyst for the Madison Police Department.
Just went off of a hunch, more or less.
He's the mind behind an operation that busted 28-year-old Scotty Patterson. Caleb used software to dig through data, and then he went to work.
You need the mind behind it, which is what a crime analyst does. That kind of just makes sense.
He tracked a pattern of behavior in the robberies that this disguised man committed and made predictions which places he could hit next.
For example, the things that they're saying to the teller. They keep saying the same thing, narrowing it down. Are they striking on the same days? Are they striking at the same time? Are they wearing the same outfits?
So with the work of the crime analyst, police knew the robber would strike again, this time at a Kopp's grocery store in Middleton. And yesterday afternoon, that prediction came true. Detectives from the Middleton Police Department saw a suspicious man at the store, and sure enough, it was Scotty. He had just robbed the Guarantee Bank
as a team and just move forward with apprehending this individual.
The Guarantee Bank in Middleton was one of 11 places that Caleb Plavig said could be potential targets. He also told me playing such a big part in solving a crime makes him feel like he's on cloud 9, but it was a group effort at the end of the day.